to Raw is Jericho!
Oh, let's get ready to suck it! And that's the bottom line.
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
This is The Pencil, a professional wrestling podcast starring Renny D and friends. Thanks for listening to The Pencil. Subscribe to the show on iTunes and follow us on Twitter at Pencil Podcast.
Here we are live in person for the first time ever. Dennis took a flight over from Minneapolis. Off the flight, in my house, we got a Brandy 7, couple McGoldens, Grizzly Chew, and WWE SmackDown on the track. Dirt, how's it going, buddy?
It was an unbelievable flight. We were a little bit late coming in, but my goodness, everything you just said that we've got sitting on this table, add that with some WWE wrestling talk right now, and it's going to be a good start to the weekend, I think.
It ain't going to suck. It's not going to suck. And for those of you that listened, it'd be a week and a half ago now since we're a little delayed. We told you about our big trip to Chicago this weekend, going down for the Wisconsin Badger Northwestern game. Whatever, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a great time for several different reasons. One, I haven't seen Travis in, August in person?
It's been 2.5 months, probably 3 months.
3 months in person. And we're hitting Chicago up for football. Now, the game starts at 2:30, which means in Wisconsin time, if the game starts at 2:30, we start drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning, and that's only because we have an hour and a half drive south. If it was up to us, we'd probably wake up at like 6:37, start drinking, chewing at that time.
You want to be well off before the kickoff. You are correct.
You want to be well off before kickoff, well off after kickoff, and be well off for the night, because it is Chicago. And I haven't been to Chicago in a long time, and the last time I was there, it wasn't like a bromance situation like this is going to be. It was more of a romance situation, which, whatever. Can be a good time, but I'm telling you, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that this trip, that there's some memories. And some of the memories we can share with you guys, and I would say some of the memories we're just not going to share with you guys for particular reasons. And I'm okay with that.
Any of the memories at the Squared Circle we will share with you next week, I promise. Maybe not any of the memories, but most of the memories at the Squared Circle, whenever we're there watching some sort of WWE Network TV tomorrow about 6, 7 p.m. Check our Twitter at Pencil Podcast. I'm sure we'll send out some pictures. We'll send out some info on how the game goes, how much fun we're having at the Squared Circle, and you just need to follow us all day, and next week we'll let you know what we can let go.
All day, every day on the Twitter gimmick. And again, if you guys can hear this in the background, we're currently watching John Cena open up SmackDown from Tuesday night, which I was there live in Milwaukee. I was actually shocked to see John in person because at this day and age in his career, he's been in the business 10 years, or been on top for 10 years. There's no reason that he has to work Tuesdays. Why does he have to work Tuesdays? And I'm going to tell you that I think he literally has to work Tuesdays because Brock Lesnar is the WWE champion. There's no other name to put. Who's going to carry the SmackDown brand without John Cena?
Seth Rollins is not. Dean Ambrose is not. Randy Orton is probably the guy you'd throw in the mix that he could. He is great, obviously, as we've spoken about on this show. But looking at the way WWE programming's been the last month, it's pretty obvious that they've got Ambrose and Rollins shooting to the top, and those two are not going to open and close a show alone without some help at this point in their careers. So having John Cena there is the answer, and God knows anytime he gets called on, he's going to come to the forefront. He's going to open the show. He's going to close the show. He's going to do everything he's got to do because that's what he does, because he is the WWE guy. And if you can't respect that, then you can't respect John Cena.
Here's my thing, which I don't understand. And I just blamed it on Lesnar being the champion. That's why he's working Tuesdays. But that can't be true either, because before Lesnar was there, John didn't work Tuesdays. Who carried the torch? They had Sheamus carrying the torch, right? Sheamus, Orton, Kane when he wrestled. Like, that was your SmackDown. And if you really sit back and think about, is there a big name in wrestling besides Brock Lesnar, besides John Cena, besides Randy Orton? Like a big name, a big draw. Can you name one? I can't. Triple H doesn't wrestle full time. But when he wrestles, like at WrestleMania, it's a draw. People want to see it. Undertaker, also a WrestleMania attraction.
No, there's nobody. There's nobody until possibly if Daniel Bryan came back in the coming months. Maybe that's your shot. Other than that, nobody.
Because Daniel Bryan was a big name. He was a draw because wrestling marks alike liked Daniel Bryan. Obviously, I was a big Daniel Bryan fan, and before we started recording this podcast, we were just talking. I never thought Daniel Bryan was world champion material, strictly because I was growing up on pro wrestlers being big bodybuilder dudes, and honestly, if you put a Daniel Bryan in the ring up against a John Cena even, straight up, he doesn't beat him in a fight.
It looks ridiculous.
It looks awful. But pro wrestling is supposed to suspend your belief of what is real. Situations like that, I get confused by it. Now, Daniel Bryan comes back, add a name to it. They're trying to build Dean Ambrose. They're trying to build Seth Rollins to be that big guy, too, and a big draw. And they're drawing in these live crowds. The reaction that Dean Ambrose got in Milwaukee was fantastic. It was... And let me just paint a picture for you. In Milwaukee, on a Tuesday night, they... Not a seller at all. The Bradley Center has two levels, a lower level and an upper level. The upper level was completely blacked off. There was a tarp over the entire upper level. And the lower bowl wasn't even completely filled. But they were allowed. So that was a good thing. I'm torn on the fact that we want the WWE to be better than what it is. And we're asking for new stars to be made. But they keep bringing up these indie guys from NXT, which I love because I'm an indie guy. And they're great wrestlers. But I don't see them as big-time draws. And I think that's why Roman Reigns is getting pushed the way he's getting pushed. Because he's a big dude. He has the look. He has the charisma. And then he goes ahead and tears his dick in half.
I was going to ask you about that this week, actually. How terrible do you think that was backstage whenever they found out about that? And knowing that he's going to be out for, let's say, 30 to 60 days, most likely?
Months now, actually, is what they say.
They say months, but a lot of times they say months, and all of a sudden it's because they want to have him be exciting when he comes back early.
John Cena was supposed to be out 6 months, came back in 2.5.
So let's say Roman Reigns is out for 60 days, 45 days, whatever it might be. At this point in the year, how devastated do you think they were backstage knowing what they wanted to do with him over the next 6 months? Or are they just going to speed it up when he gets back in 45 days because they're going to do what they want to do regardless if he missed 2 months right now?
I can see him speeding it up, but like we touched on, I believe when we had Jason Paul on from ProWrestling.net, how all three of us agreed that it's too fast of a push for him. So now he comes back after being on the shelf 60 days and they really push him in the spotlight. He's still a kid in wrestling. He's older than you and I. But in wrestling, he's still a kid. He's still green as hell. He's not ready for it. So you got to go plan B. And at WrestleMania, I've heard rumors, and I do not believe they are even remotely close to being true, but paying CM Punk out of his fucking mind to come back.
Please do.
To pay him to come back to challenge for the WWE World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. Would it draw money? Absolutely. Absolutely. It would draw a ton of money. In San Francisco at the outdoor stadium, do I think that Punk deserves that? Absolutely not. I don't think he deserves it at all right now. And I think with Triple H being in charge the way he is, and with him being an egotistical maniac, which he can be, though, because all the guys say he's a creative genius. Like, he's a genius when it comes to wrestling. And he should be. The goddamn guy started with nothing in the business and now is fantastic. I can't see him doing that, but at the end of the day, Vince McMahon's name is on the company. He can make that call. Apparently him and CM Punk are friends, or were friends. I don't know. I mean, would I watch the match? Yeah. Yeah, I watched the match. Would I want CM Punk to win that match? No. No, I would not. But I'm also a big Lesnar guy.
I'd be wearing my Eat, Sleep, Conquer, Repeat T-shirt for the entire WrestleMania, just like I did last year whenever we were in New Orleans. God damn it, New Orleans was awesome. But I mean, awesome. It's an entertainment business, and I'm on the belief of saying that I love where the WWE is going right now. I think it's better right now than it was a year ago or 2 years ago.
At this time.
Even though Daniel Bryan and CM Punk are nowhere to be seen. The Rock isn't here. He's probably not going to be here at any point. I still like a lot of what they're doing with the mid-cards. I still like a lot of what they're doing at the top of the card right now. But I can't see Cult of Personality hitting on the speaker and having it not be a good thing for the company. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't anticipate it happening until at least, maybe at the soonest, WrestleMania 32.
How long do we keep talking about CM Punk coming back until it becomes exhausting and we just stop? The crowd in Chicago on Monday night, huge CM Punk chants, rightfully so, it's his hometown. Are those guys, if he never comes back, if he decides he never wants to come back, because he seems like the type of person.
It'll go on until WrestleMania next year. If nothing happens
Until 32 or 31?
31. After 31, if nothing happens and there's no stories about a possibility, this, that, and the other thing, if we get to May, June, July of next year, the CM Punk chance will stop, but it's going to go until then.
Will it stop everywhere? I mean, I think
not in Chicago.
Chicago will still do it. And I think it's because you're a Bears fan, all right, and you're a Cubs fan, but you're not from Chicago. But
don't tell all our listeners that, but yes, I am.
But this is good because you are a Chicago sports fan.
I am.
And you've been through hell with the Cubs. You've been through hell with the Bears.
Anybody that's been to Wrigley, it's not hell. Even if they're 60 and 100, it's still a good time.
But what I'm trying to get at is the fan base. Regardless of how bad a team is or how the circumstances surrounding the situation, they're still passionate and they will never let it go.
Correct.
Right? Like that.
Correct.
The guy who caught that foul ball in game
Bartman, baby.
Bartman, right? You guys know his fucking name. Like, is there still death threats on? Is he still on wanted posters in that city? Because it wouldn't surprise me if people still want this dude's head because Chicago.
Some people still do. Yeah, some people still do. That's ridiculous. Some people still do. I mean, yeah, you're exactly right. No matter how bad the Bears are, no matter how bad the Cubs are, more so on the Cubs side. It doesn't matter how bad you are. It doesn't matter. I mean, the Cubs have been ran like an absolute disaster for 6 decades. And it doesn't matter because they're going to fill the stadium. You're going to have Cubs fans there. You're going to have... I maintain that Chicago is the best city in the country around the end of summer, around this time of year. Give it July, August, September. I think Chicago is the best city in the country because of those fans. And because if you get into Wrigleyville, you get into... Soldier Field area, those are the greatest places to be this time of year, when it's not that windy in the Windy City and when there is no snow and it's not that cold. And I do think that has something to do with CM Punk's popularity because he is the second city saint, and that city is going to be behind him regardless because no matter how he left the company, they're going to remember what he was to the company. And I don't think it can be argued that he was the company for about 11 to 14 months, whatever it might have been. Outside of Cena was still the top dog, but I mean, he was WWE champion and he was as close to Cena as anybody's been in a very long time.
But that brings it back to what you just said a little bit ago. You said that the WWE today is better than it was 11 to 12 months ago. The champion 11 to 12 months ago was CM Punk. Him and Ryback headlined Hell in a Cell.
Ryback's awesome.
Ryback rules. They headlined Hell in a Cell. There's no confirmation that Brock Lesnar is even going to be at Hell in a Cell. So do you still say that the top of the card is better today than it was 12 months ago when we had a champion?
Yes, you don't need a champion to have Rollins versus Ambrose or whoever might be the main event of Hell in a Cell be better than what Ryback and CM Punk was because it was predictable. It was...
But that lies on Punk, though. Punk was the champion. So
yes.
Now
if we're giving him credit for being the number 2 guy, then yes, you're right. It does lie on Punk. You're right. I don't have a good argument for why I want Punk back. But you're right.
What I'm trying to get at here is the WWE, do they need CM Punk? No, they don't need CM Punk. Would he be an added benefit to the shows? Absolutely. But Cena is going to be a much bigger draw than Punk any day of the week in any city, and that includes Chicago.
And Cena's never going to walk away. Not like Punk did.
Cena loves, and this is funny, because when the lights went off on Tuesday at the tapings, and the camera stopped rolling, Cena and Ambrose had a lot of fun with the crowd. Each of them went to a side of the ring, and Cena did the whole Hulk Hogan thing where he's trying to get each side of the crowd to be louder than the rest. Dean Ambrose did the same exact thing, and the crowd went nuts for Ambrose. Ambrose got on the mic after the lights went off and said, and if I can remember right, he said, "John, I don't even like you that much as a person, but there are 3 things that we have in common. 1, we both love this business." That's what he said, and the crowd popped for it because it's true. Like, regardless of what city you go to, and they're going to give Cena shit no matter what because they're so tired of him being in that situation for so long, although he does deserve it.
Nobody's tired of Cena.
If John Cena wasn't there, we wouldn't have the "Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks" chants. What would we have to replace that? Yes chants? Sure. But they're not nearly as loud as the "Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks" chant. Not even close.
No. Nobody's tired of Cena. It's a legitimate, what's the cool thing to do? It's cool to either act like you cheer for Cena or act like you boo Cena when, at the end of the day, everybody in the crowd loves Cena whenever you really sit him down and talk to him about it.
Absolutely. Like I said, when the camera went off, the crowd cheered Cena. I mean, they They love John Cena. They know he granted 400 plus wishes in Make-A-Wish Foundation. They know how great he is for the company.
They know that he dropped like $70,000 whenever they're on the European tour at the clubs before he wrestled Shawn Michaels for the fucking belt one night. I remember. I listen to Jonathan Coachman's story. Everybody go on ESPN. Listen to Jonathan Coachman's story. The coach used to be in WWE. Now he's at ESPN. Listen to some of his stories about the European tour and how great John Cena is, and tell me you're not a fan.
What I'm trying to get at is, and I'm CM Punk, I never had a chance to work a show with him. When I broke into wrestling in Minnesota, he was just moving on to Ring of Honor. There's rumors of him being a big prick, a big dick, whatever it might be. He performed when he's on WWE. He had great matches. My thing is he's just not and never will be a big of a draw as John Cena. He will never be as big of a draw as Brock Lesnar at all. I think that the closest person to what CM Punk was in the WWE today is probably Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, because they're primarily the same type of person as far as their talent in the ring goes. Very talented. Their stick work is good. Although I still, for some reason, I think that Seth Rollins, as good as his mic, what he says on the mic, his tone of voice really gets me. He just sounds like a weirdo.
I anticipate it being better than what it is, and I feel the same way about the way he's been on the microphone. But 5 months ago, he was worse than he is now, so I anticipate come post-Royal Rumble, he'll be a lot better. I'm going to give him that benefit of the doubt at this point because of how much we know he can deliver in the ring.
And I'm with you. I think with him having the spotlight now, he's only going to get better, because we didn't know how good CM Punk was until they gave him a shot, and he ran with it. The Las Vegas promo, we all know about that. It's on his DVD. It's the best promo in the last 5 years.
Second best DVD I think I've ever seen.
What's number one?
Heyman Hustle, baby.
Heyman Hustle is the number one DVD, which we're going to do a little screening of that this weekend, but we'll probably maybe touch on that on Tuesday. Anyway, I know we can sit here, we can talk John Cena, Brock Lesnar for 40 minutes, and we can talk the rematch, because there's going to be a rematch. Brock Lesnar. Now, here's my confusing part, by the way. Night of Champions, Seth Rollins hit John Cena with the briefcase, correct? Cena had the pin on the AA.
Yes.
1, 2, boom, hit him with the briefcase. Justin Roberts announced Brock Lesnar the winner of the match by disqualification. That's what he announced on the show. But Cena should have been the winner of the match as a result of disqualification, because he got hit.
Correct. Cena should have won the match by disqualification. Lesnar retained the belt via disqualification.
Right. So what I'm saying is, I think
there has to be a rematch. There has to be.
So I'm thinking from what I recall, I thought Justin Roberts said John Cena was disqualified, which doesn't make any sense. Anyway, it should be 1-1. One Lesnar, one Cena, and the rematch is going to happen. When will it happen? We don't know. And that's the thing. At this point, we have 2 weeks, 3 weeks until Hell in a Cell. I guess you could build it. You could have him come back.
No chance. Lesnar's not going to be on TV for, at minimum, a month and a half from
I think
right
he
now.
needs to be at Survivor Series because it's one of their big four. But if he's not at Survivor Series for whatever reason, he's not coming back till Rumble. We won't have a title match until Rumble. And there's been speculation that there's not going to be any more Lesnar the rest of 2014. The WWE is just going to forget the fact that we even have a World Heavyweight Champion and focus on Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, John Cena.
I'm completely okay with that, by the way.
And that's fine, too. And I think if they do wait until Royal Rumble, whoever Lesnar wrestles at Royal Rumble, it's got to be John Cena. It has to be.
Which means they need to put Cena over as a legitimate threat for the next 3 pay-per-views, which I'm sure a lot of our anti-John Cena fans are not excited about. But I anticipate that is most likely what's going to need to happen. Do we anticipate... and in that instance, then we're saying that Rollins is definitely, obviously, still going to have the briefcase at that point.
Yeah, if Lesnar's not showing up to any pay-per-views or any shows, Rollins is going to have the briefcase until WrestleMania 31.
Unless Rollins, they have some sort of camera going to his home in fucking Minnesota, and Rollins is going to fucking beat up him and Sable or something.
I totally forgot that he married Sable. That's funny you brought that up. It's been a while.
Alexander in Minnesota, you better look out if Seth Rollins is coming to town.
So yeah, okay. Like I said, we could talk this forever, and we could really beat a dead horse, beat a dead horse with a stick with this conversation. But I really want to move on to a bright spot in the WWE in our minds. We both agree on this, that Damian Sandow is an absolute gem. An absolute fucking gem. And Mick Foley agrees with us. And after SmackDown on Tuesday, I went out to eat with Eric Rowan and we talked a little bit, and he said, one thing he said about Damien Sandow is...
Eric Rowan, keep in mind, the one at this point in WWE's programming, the forgotten member of the Wyatt family, which hopefully will be remembered in the next couple weeks, from what I understand.
Yeah, we'll be seeing more of Eric Rowan, more of Luke Harper, hopefully more of Bray Wyatt. But I guess the one thing he said when I brought up Damien Sandow, because Eric and I, and I'll use his wrestling name, we don't talk wrestling very often just because he's actually a personal friend of mine, and the last thing I want to do, he's on the road 300 days a year, is talk wrestling with him, because I'm sure it gets to be a bit much with him. But I did ask him about Damien Sandow, and he said the one thing about Sandow is he always wants more. He got the Money in the Bank, he wants more. He's getting this now on TV, he wants more. And I asked him, I said, Eric, is that a bad thing? Like, you always should want more. And that's, I think, is coming through in what Sandow is doing on TV. Because any little thing that they're asking him to do, he's doing it.
Sandow right now, they're having a legitimate feud between Dolph Ziggler and The Miz, who, say what you want about The Miz, he's not a terrible worker.
No.
Dolph, great seller, not great offense, but a good worker in the ring. He's a solid mid-card guy to have surrounding the title. I don't know if he's a champion-type guy, but right now, that's how they're doing it, and that's fine with me, because I love me some Ziggler. But they're having a feud between two guys that are pretty legitimate guys. And yeah. Damien Sandow is stealing the show every match.
And I'm glad he actually got a chance to wrestle on Friday Night SmackDown. And for those of you who watched it, I hope you agree. The one thing about Sandow that I think he needs to do is get to the gym a little bit more. He's looking a little soft in the midsection, a little sloppy. But, hey, he's getting TV time. And one thing I told Eric Rowan when reading, I said, he's getting TV time, and Zack Ryder, they're sending Zack Ryder home. Zack Ryder is good enough for house shows. But when it comes to Raw or SmackDown, they send him back to Long Island, and he tweets out from his house. They don't even have him come to the shows. So, what exactly did Zack Ryder do wrong? I don't know. I was never a big Zack Ryder guy.
No.
You bought the stupid fucking headband, but I don't know if that was legit.
I bought a Zack Ryder T-shirt once.
Or a T-shirt. Yeah.
I would say that if I could go back again, that's a purchase that I might rescind, but. I mean, I have it. It doesn't fit that well anymore, mostly because I, as well as most guys in the WWE, have been in the gym routinely over the last 18 months since I bought that T-shirt. But, I mean, it doesn't fit that well anymore. I don't know. If I could have some sort of close friend wear it at some point in the future, that'd be nice. But we'll see. Male or female, whoever.
Whoever. It doesn't really matter at this point. But I just wanted to get across that I'm a big Damien Sandow fan. I like what they're doing with it. I would like to see him get a shot at Dolph Ziggler for the IC title. Or at least...
maybe get a shot at The Miz if The Miz takes the title from him.
I think that's the way you book it. Like, if you're going to write what's going to happen next, eventually The Miz treats Damien Sandow like absolute shit. Sandow gets fed up with it. Boom, does his thing. Works his way into maybe around Royal Rumble... the pay-per-view after Royal Rumble, which is, I don't even know what the hell they call it anymore after Royal Rumble. It's changed names so many times. Hell in a Cell.
After Royal Rumble would be Elimination Chamber. Elimination Chamber.
That's what I meant, Elimination Chamber, because we were there last year. I guess we'll see it. Right now, like I said, we're watching SmackDown on the DVR, and they're showing the Rusev, Lana, Big Show situation. So I want to actually switch my attention to this a little bit here, too, because one thing that Rowan said to me, which I thought was interesting, is the WWE is trying to steer away from the 1980s heel. But that's exactly who Rusev is. The Cold War gimmick that you are sick of.
I like Rusev. Let's just get that out there. I like Rusev.
Do you like Rusev, or do you like his dime piece that he hangs onto his shoulder?
Can I say, if I had to choose between those two, I like Lana more than Rusev. She's shockingly beautiful. So I'm going to pick Lana over Rusev every day of the week. But I do like Rusev. He's an athletic, big guy. Not quite as big as the Big Show, as is pretty obvious whenever you see them next to each other. But I don't have a problem with them pushing Rusev. I don't like the gimmick. I feel like it's the easy way out for WWE Creative, and I think there's a way that you can make characters more than just a guy who can only speak broken English and is from Russia. But that's just me.
Broken English, but his promo on Monday, when he said he was going to break every bone in Big Show's body,
hilarious.
It was straight to the point, and it actually, to me, it seemed legit. Like, it seemed like a legit... Oh, sorry, Paige just came on. And I'm a big Paige fan, but Rusev, it seemed like a legit threat coming from him, like it was real. Now, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm not a Big Show fan at all. I actually hate the fact he's still under contract. I'm over it. He's the world's biggest athlete. That's fine.
He's way better in the ring right now than he's been in the last 2 years. But I agree with you.
But he's still garbage because he can't fucking move. And I'm not trying to disrespect the Big Show in any way. I mean, he's done a lot.
He beat Hulk Hogan in his first ever match for the WCW title, right?
One strap Paul White, baby, just doing his thing. But it's just, he's to the point now, like when I was there, he had to sit down because his knees were so bad in a backstage segment. Now he's in the ring, and when he throws a clothesline, he sticks his arm out and expects people to run into it. When he gives hip tosses, he sticks his arm out, expects people to flip-flop over it. There's got to be, and I understand he's still highly, highly paid.
At this point in his career, I think where you're getting is that he
should be corporate Kane. He should be corporate Kane, and Kane should still be in the ring working because Kane can still work.
Correct. He'd be better as a muscle for some sort of heel gimmick is what he would be. Or even face, for that matter. Just somebody who doesn't have to do a lot, but when he does what he does, at least looks like a monster instead of having to work 8-minute matches and looking like shit for 6 of them.
And, I mean, I agree, like, if you're going to put somebody in there against Rusev, Big Show probably makes the most sense outside of Mark Henry. But, yeah, I apologize right now. I mean, they're skipping around in the ring, and I was there live, and I really wanted to see this again because, like I said, I'm the biggest Paige fan in the world for different reasons. One, she is a fantastic worker. She's great. She's an indie worker from Europe, and she's young. She's like 21 years old, man. Legitimately young as hell.
You can get a lot of years out of that girl.
A lot of years, a lot of mileage, and it's going to be fantastic for the company.
Whoever.
What do we want to talk about next, man? There's a lot of things we can talk about. This is great. Like being in person for once, not over a phone. We can sit here, we can have a beverage.
We're rambling, but I know those who listen to the show routinely, they understand where we're coming from. They can follow us. But we are rambling, and we're not going to stop. So just get used to it.
This is a special episode. It's a Friday episode. It's not a Tuesday episode. And all right,
Tuesday episodes are
structured
a
little bit.
Friday episodes are watching SmackDown live, having a few beers, just kind of shooting the shit, talking like friends do, talking like WWE fans do. Like all of you, if you were on the show with us, how you guys would talk, that's how we want to talk for you. Because this is how we'd have conversations with you if you were sitting at either corner of the table with us.
So here's something that I'm gonna throw this out there real quick, a quick plug for us, and then I have a question for Travis. First off, for those of you that don't know, we have a brand new website. We put up the dough and finally got pencilpodcast.com. It looks fantastic. It's the best look we've had. We've had 2 versions of the website. This one's so much better. Check it out if you haven't done so already. But in actually 2 weeks, we're doing something kind of special, and we figured if we can get enough people to listen to this podcast, we want to do something and give back, and we could buy advertising on websites and things like that, but why? I mean, to me, it's more important for us to have people actually listen to the show. So on October 14th, we're going to do a special podcast. For every listen between YouTube and iTunes, we're going to donate 10 cents per listen. Now, on the outskirts, that doesn't sound like a lot, but we're going to do it up to $500. So if we can somehow get 5,000 listens, which we're not even close to that right now. We're not even close to 1,000 listens. But our hope is that you guys retweet this and share this with your friends and family. Have people listen to the podcast for the first time. Travis and I are going to try to be the best that we can be, so that way people will subscribe after that. But we will donate money towards breast cancer research for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So it's something different, but what the hell? I mean, let's do something good. Let's try to get people to listen to the show. So you're going to be seeing a lot of that on our Twitter, a lot of that on our Facebook. And we just want to do it, like I said, to attract more listeners, but also at the same time to give back to a good cause. So remember,
it's a good cause. Remember to go and listen at Pencil Podcast. Don't worry about the check that I have to write afterwards. I'm going to work with my bank that I work at currently. Make sure they don't cash it until I overdraft my account. Obviously, we don't want to have to worry about that in the long run. Either way, that's not going to hurt any of you listeners. That's only going to hurt me. Which, if you know me well enough, it's okay. You don't have to worry about hurting dirt. All you have to worry about is going to our new website and reading dirt sheets every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, whatever you have time for, to make sure that you follow what I say, because I want you to disagree with what I say and point me in the right direction in the future as Paige puts on her finisher.
Yeah, absolutely. The new website's got some cool shit. I mean, we got editorials, so we're going to come at you every Tuesday with the podcast. We're going to write editorials. I have my first one up right now, the Renny D show. It's about my last match. You can go and check that out. We're also going to have guest people come on, too, and write columns for us. So if people are interested in wrestling and I think that what you can contribute is cool, I'll put it on the website. So if interested in doing that, reach out, contact us, whatever. But here's the question that I have, Travis, and I was thinking about this today. I wanted to ask you some questions in person without preparing because generally when Travis and I prepare,
Is this a shoot? This is a shoot. This is a shoot. This is a shoot right here.
But when we prepare, we generally throw the questions towards each other before the show, so that way when we're on, when we record, when we hit the record button, that we know what we're going to talk about. But right now, with the injuries in the WWE, there's a lot of people out right now with injuries. Who are you most looking forward to coming back on TV, and how would you book them?
Can I do two?
No.
Okay. This is the pencil. We can't have a list. I understand. We're going to pick one.
And I'll give you mine too. And mine's thought out a little bit, but
mine's not thought out. I will go first. This is a straight shoot. I will say the most important person and the person that I'm most excited about coming back from injury is Daniel Bryan. The reason I picked Daniel Bryan,
shocker.
The reason I picked Daniel Bryan is because I think it's absolutely unbelievable that it is not mentioned at all on any episodes, on any TV, on any websites, on any WWE.com, on anything. The fact that Daniel Bryan's real-life wife, who is in a reality TV show, has a bigger spot on the show than Daniel Bryan, who, if we all remember, left the company as the WWE champion. He was what Brock Lesnar is right now. And I cannot imagine that anybody that watches WWE right now can imagine that that's the fact. That Daniel Bryan was Brock Lesnar. He was the champion. Before he was hurt, he was stripped of the belt, and he walked away, and he hasn't been seen since. I am so excited to see how they're going to do his return. Are they going to put him into the main event scene? Are they going to bring him back as Brie Bella's husband? I don't know what they're going to do. At this point, if the pencil was in my hand and I had to make this decision, I am writing him into the Ambrose, Rollins, Cena, Lesnar situation, the Orton situation. I'm putting him up in that echelon.
Which one? You can't throw him around three different things. Who is he going against?
I'm putting him into Brock Lesnar being in the ring with the belt. Maybe before Royal Rumble. I would say, let's say we're saying that Cena and Lesnar are most likely going to have a third match. At this point, I would say it's most likely to be seen at Survivor Series or Royal Rumble. I would lean towards Royal Rumble, that it's going to be Cena versus Lesnar for the title. If that's the case, I would say after the new year, after January 1, 2015, at one of those Monday Night Raws, whenever we have Lesnar at a Raw, and we have Cena and him doing promos, or Heyman talking about whatever, that is when Daniel Bryan's music hits. He walks to the ring to an absolute unbelievable yes chant, and the fans will freak out, because he will walk to the ring wearing a pair of jeans and a sweatshirt and say, "Does everyone remember me? I'm tired of John Cena stealing what should be my rematch. I'm tired of the fact that I don't need a rematch because I did not lose the belt. I was stripped of the belt from the Authority, who I'm pretty sure both of you," and he'll look across the ring at Lesnar and Cena and understand that, hey, nobody's getting along with the Authority. So can we all agree that they did a wrong thing in taking the belt from me? And it'll be tough for Heyman and Cena to disagree with him. And at that point, I would not be shocked if we look at Royal Rumble 2015, January, a main event of a triple threat match between Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and Daniel Bryan for the WWE title following the Royal Rumble. So at that point, I would expect all of our listeners, I would expect you, Ryan, and me to all be thinking, if that does happen, who wins the Royal Rumble at about 9 o'clock that night, and who wins that triple threat match at 9:45 to tell us what the road to WrestleMania is going to look like. Because I don't know if I'm always a fan of triple threat matches in the main event of pay-per-views, because I think sometimes they do get a little bit sloppy. but I know that you and I, Ryan, were in the building for a triple threat match at the main event of the Mecca of wrestling at WWE WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans. God damn it, it was a great time. And that match right there, Batista, Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, was absolutely fantastic, and it ended the way everybody wanted it to end. And I think that is how I would book it if the pencil was in my hand.
So he want and Bree's doing the yes thing now, and the crowd's going crazy for it again. So they're
keep in mind, I didn't mention Bree in any of that because she doesn't need to be included in any of it.
But here's the thing with Daniel Bryan. Before I get to my person, I want to come back is they ran an angle that he was cheating on Bree, right? With Stephanie McMahon.
That'll be forgotten.
Never came out.
It was terrible.
Never came out. Never. Maybe they did it on Total Divas. I don't know. I don't watch the show. But I don't know. I mean, I think at this point, Daniel Bryan comes back. Yeah, you're probably going to say he goes in the world title picture one way or shape or another because he never got a chance to defend it.
No, he defended it against Kane. Remember those awesome pay-per-views?
That's right. All right. Whatever. Also forgotten. The one person that I am really looking forward to coming back is I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Wade Barrett.
I forgot he was with the company.
I mean, Wade Barrett, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan,
Ryback.
Curtis Axel is also hurt now. I mean, but whatever. I want Wade Barrett to come back because I think Wade Barrett's one of those guys who's a very physical type of an athlete, like Sheamus, like Cesaro.
He would be an unbelievable guy to throw into that mid-card title bout with The Miz, with Ziggler, with all those guys.
Yeah.
Go on.
And his promos are fucking hilarious. His ring work was great. He had some of the best matches on the show before he got hurt. Like, we were looking forward to him defending his title, and I can't remember who he's supposed to defend it against. I'm trying to think. But, like, I was looking forward to it. And then all of a sudden, he broke his collarbone on a powerbomb or something.
I think it was on SmackDown. He hurt his collarbone.
The show before the pay-per-view.
I think it was supposed to be against Sheamus, I think.
I think you're right. But it was a show before the pay-per-view. And that I'm excited to see when he comes back. I hope they don't shit him out and put him back like square one. I hope he gets put back because if they're building up these mid-card titles like crazy, which is fantastic. Fantastic, because this is the future of the WWE is that mid-card title right now. We know Lesnar's a champion. We know he's going to be champion. If we can get some mystery, I guess, around the IC title and the US title like there has been, because right now we look at Hell in a Cell, we don't know who's going to wrestle who. The Miz could wrestle Sheamus now. Dolph Ziggler could wrestle Cesaro now the way it looks, like with the flip-flop. But we know Bray Wyatt's going to be put in the US title picture. That's something that we know is going to happen. It has to happen. So, I guess that's the person that I'm looking forward to coming back and seeing exactly what he can do when he comes back. We'll see. I mean, he'll be back soon, and I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of returns here shortly because Daniel Bryan's ready to come back. Wade Barrett's ready to come back.
God, I hope Ryback's coming back.
Ryback's not going to be that much longer. Curtis Axel's ready to come back, and you got to expect Roman Reigns is right around the corner, too, after his surgery. So, we're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to kind of bring our thoughts back full circle here and then figure out exactly what the hell we want to talk about in the second half hour of the show. Stick with us. We'll be right back right after this. On October 14th, the pencil officially goes pink in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. For every listen to our October 14th podcast between the 14th and the 21st, we will donate 10 cents per listen up to $500. Do us a favor and make sure that you listen to the podcast, share with your friends and family, and let's reach 5,000 listeners so we can donate $500 to breast cancer research. With your help, together, we can pin breast cancer to the mat for the 3 count. Make sure you listen to the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, PodBean, or Stitcher. Follow us at Twitter at Pencil Podcast or visit our website at www.pencilpodcast.com. On October 14th, the pencil officially goes pink in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. For every listen to our October 14th podcast between the 14th and the 21st, we will donate 10 cents per listen up to $500. Do us a favor and make sure that you listen to the podcast, share with your friends and family, and let's reach 5,000 listeners so we can donate $500 to breast cancer research. With your help, together, we can pin breast cancer to the mat for the 3 count. Make sure you listen to the podcast on iTunes, YouTube, PodBean, or Stitcher. Follow us at Twitter at Pencil Podcast, or visit our website at www.pencilpodcast.com.
Bitch, I'm top chef, you top ramen, I'm top shelf. No last call, tell the bartender what you got left. Pour it up, don't stop there. Hold your cup, take a shot, yeah. All night we celebrate, cause we everywhere and you not there. Ha! All we do is pour it up, all night, drinks down.
Alright, we are back after a short break. And let's be honest, the reason we took a break was so we could refill our glasses, get a new beer, get our thoughts around what we want to talk about. I'm going to go ahead and just say right away, we'll be back on Tuesday, our normal time on Tuesday. Sorry about last Tuesday, I was at SmackDown. Sorry, I'm not sorry, but we're going to have Minnesota independent wrestler Craven Knight on the show with us on Tuesday. Craven and I spent a lot of time together in Minnesota when I was on the independent wrestling scene. Craven recently was down at the WWE Performance Center for a WWE tryout, official tryout. Finally got the call to go down there. Ari Daivari was down there in December. Craven went down there about 3 weeks ago. Craven's worked on like 4 different WWE shows. Anytime they come to town, he's always there. He was a Rosebud last time. So it'll be cool to talk to him about his experience the last 4 times. But more importantly, the workout and what they put you guys through down in Orlando at the Performance Center. That'll be pretty sick to hear that too. So Craven Knight's our guest on Tuesday. We're going to try to get to guys some guests again. I know it's been a couple weeks since we had one, and I know you guys like that as listeners. So we'll do our best. I actually have a lot of guests secured coming up. We just need to figure out what weeks they can make it. Like I mentioned to you earlier, anytime after a pay-per-view, we're probably not going to have a guest because there's a lot of things Dirt has to say, a lot of things I want to get to say, a lot of things we got to get off our chest. And so we have a couple weeks until it happens. So we'll have a guest every week. Again, want to plug the October 14th show. Make sure you listen. Make sure you have your friends and family listen. Make Dirt and I write a big paycheck for the Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation, or we're probably going to send it to Susan G. Komen, like the WWE. So make sure you do that. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter at Pencil Podcast, and our new website, pencilpodcast.com. All right, Dirt. Back to wrestling. Right now, Slater Gator on the track with the Usos. So let's talk tag team. Let's talk the tag team titles.
I think we're the only ones that want to talk tag team from the look of what WWE Creative's been doing the last 3 weeks.
That's exactly it. And here's what really got me irritated. So on the Monday after Night of Champions, after the Rhodes Brothers or the Dust Brothers or whatever you want to call them won the straps, they didn't defend the titles. They weren't even in competition. They did a backstage segment, right? Or did they do a backstage segment this Monday?
No, they did it both weeks, I believe.
Okay, but then Goldust tweeted something out about being in Hawaii swimming with the Dolphins on Tuesday. When we all know they tape SmackDown on Tuesday. And on SmackDown they had this one take. They had numerous tag matches on SmackDown. Only one made remote sense towards the tag team division, and that's the match we're watching right now. The Usos, Slater Gator with the stupid fucking bunny, and Hornswoggle being the stupid fucking dinosaur. I think I said this last week when we talked, the last episode. At what point is the tag team division irrelevant? It already is. And I had this conversation with Eric Rowan. And I said to him, when you and Luke Harper were facing the Usos for the title, at the pay-per-view, when you're setting up the match on Raw and SmackDown beforehand, that was the most interesting that division had been in a long time. Travis, they had one match. One pay-per-view match. Luke Harper, Eric Rowan are a legit tag team. They're part of the Wyatt family. They have a threesome. One's a singles competitor. 2 are the tag team competitors. Legit tag team, and now they're splitting them up. They had one tag team title match, which was awesome. It was good. And then it just went away. And then they gave the spotlight to the Rhodes Brothers. Obviously, I never bought into the Usos, ever. I don't know what they do with it. I'm really flabbergasted because at this point, there's nothing they can do to make me interested in the tag team division at this point.
I was actually gonna bring this up earlier in the show. I'm glad you brought it up now, because if we're gonna have a shoot question, I would like to shoot towards you at this point. and see what kind of answer you can come up with, because mine had to do with the tag team division.
All right.
I understand that the Usos are there. They are still in that title picture. The Dust Bros are the champions and are doing whatever they're doing.
Which we already talked about what we think is going to happen with the Dust Brothers.
Correct.
The payoff match at WrestleMania.
Correct. That's what we think is going to happen with the Dust Brothers in general. But they, right now, are sitting as the tag team champions and without much direction from what I'm thinking.
There's no direction. Whoever out of the 25, 30 creative writers, the 10 fucking morons who have the tag team division, and I don't think Vince and Triple H even care about the tag team division, because if they did, they'd do something different.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is 2 questions. I'll ask the first one first, and I'll wait and have you ask the second one second.
Let's do it.
First question for you, Ryan, is: do you think that the blatant disregard for the tag team division has something to do with them bringing someone out of the woodwork that we do not know about as of today?
No.
And I'm talking somebody from NXT, somebody, I don't know if it's Ascension, I don't know if it's 2 guys in WWE that are pissed off. I guess at that point I would mention guys like Big E, guys like Kofi Kingston, guys like, I don't know who it might be. Or do you think it's just a blatant disregard and there is no idea behind it?
And they don't care about it. They don't care about the division, because if they were gonna bring the Ascension up from NXT, or they were gonna do this new Martin Luther King black guy trio gimmick with Xavier Woods and Big E and Kofi, like you mentioned, they would put more emphasis on the tag team titles to make it mean more when this actually happened. Because you're not going to bring up the former NXT tag team champions, and all of a sudden the tag team division be relevant. They need to do something like with the world title, right? All of a sudden somebody out of nowhere challenges for the world title. The only way to make that make sense is for the world title to mean something. The tag team titles mean absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing to me at this point. And I'm a wrestling fan of 21, 22 years. And I'm used to watching I'm going to sound like an old fucker now, and I'm not old at all, but back in the day...
You're kind of old.
Not as old, not as old as some of the guys in the locker room who need to get the fuck out. They had the Road Warriors, people like that. Even the Nation of Domination, when they were around, they had guys that were part of the tag team division, the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys.
The Acolytes, baby.
The Acolytes. That's when tag team wrestling meant something, and they just don't care anymore. They literally, if you want to see tag team wrestling, you turn on the Spike TV on Wednesdays, right? You watch Spike TV.
Oh, that's some great tag team wrestling right there.
TNA.
That TNA Impact Wrestling is unbelievable tag team wrestling.
And I don't know if this is WWE's way of saying, fuck you, TNA. We don't care. We're not going to do what you're going to do. We're going to focus our emphasis on the Divas title, the World title, and that's fine. They should have emphasis on every title, though, because the titles are what... Tag team wrestling is... It should not be dead. You're the biggest company in the world. 5
hours of live TV, and by live TV, I mean 3 hours of live TV and 2 hours of taped live TV.
But we got main event. Main event's another hour.
There's plenty of time to focus on what you need to focus on.
There's superstars. There's plenty of television. There's plenty of WWE programming, and there's nothing around the tape. The pay-per-views should always have the world title defended, except for right now with the Brock Lesnar situation. But the IC, the US, the Divas, and the tag team title should always be defended. They should always mean something.
By always defended, you should, hopefully, we can preface that by saying at pay-per-views, 90% of the time, can we please have a clean finish in the championship matches? But that's beside the point. That's for another show. That might be for another conversation. Go on. I apologize for interrupting.
No, I'm okay. There's actually, especially around the world title picture, the clean finishes mean more to me. I understand, like in the IC title with Dolph rolling them up, pulling the tights. It's not a clean finish, but it leads into the next.
It's still a finish. At least it's a finish.
Not a schmaz. We don't need a DQ or a double count or any of that stuff. So, no, I think the WWE just doesn't care. I don't think they care about tag team wrestling, and that to me is offensive because I mentioned this, I believe, last episode. I broke into the business in tag team wrestling. I wrestled tag team for 4 years. That's how I got my start. You can do so much more in a tag team match than you can in a singles match because you have 3 other competitors that you have to involve in the match. So you can do double team maneuvers. They can be creative. You see it. You watch TNA. You can be really creative with a tag team match.
That was another question I wanted to ask for you. Did you work with Eric Rowan in tag team matches ever?
Yeah. Eric Rowan and I were a tag team in our Neo Pro days. And it wasn't a long tag team run. It was like 4 or 5 shows maybe. But even then, I mean, anytime I got into a match, a singles match, it's on you to perform. In a tag team match, you have somebody to lean on a little bit, but there's so many more things that you can do and so much other things you need to take into consideration when you do a tag team match that it's a different spice of the card. Because in WWE, you're going to have, at a pay-per-view, you're going to have 7 matches. 6 or 7 matches, and all of them are pretty much singles matches. So when you have a tag team match, you can do something special, and the crowd gets in. Don't kid yourself. The crowd likes tag team wrestling if it's good tag team wrestling. Straight up answer, they don't give a shit about it right now. And if I was the Rhodes brothers, I would be offended by that too, because I would be pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing for more time and more consideration and more build around the tag team titles. And maybe that's a fault of their own because they're not, I mean, it is a fault of their own. They're not building tag teams. They're throwing 2 guys together, Ryback, Curtis Axel, guys who've never been a tag team before, put them together and make Ryback Axel. They can go out and they can sign tag teams. Or they can make them in NXT and then bring them up like the Ascension. They should be on the main roster at this point if they really want this division to mean anything at all. You don't need to be taking guys like The Miz and Damian Sandow and forming a tag team moving forward. Tag team should be a tag team from the get-go. Break them up, move on. That's what I think.
All right, second question. I'll make this one shorter because I don't think it's as important, and I also don't think that it's as interesting. But I'll ask you anyway because I've been thinking about it for the last week. It doesn't appear to me that they want to completely get rid of the Adam Rose gimmick for whatever reason. Who is the Bunny and why?
I don't know who the Bunny is. I really don't know who the fuck the Bunny is, man. For a while I thought maybe it was Tyson Kidd. It's somebody who's athletic because he can jump up to the top rope pretty quickly. I'm trying to think of who's on the roster.
Do you think... I've only had a couple guys come to mind because of the way they've been using them, and this is probably leaning towards what happened on Friday Night SmackDown this week and the past couple weeks, I suppose. Do you think it's more likely to be a Darren Young because they're going against Slater Gator and he'll come back from his injury and be against Titus O'Neil?
He's a white guy. He's a white guy because you see it on the gloves. It's white.
So it's more likely that it's a Sami Zayn from NXT, or is it? Or do we think it's more likely that it's something like that?
It's a short guy.
Or do we think it's more likely that it's literally going to be something that's just never going to be mentioned in a month from now?
Knowing after watching WWE for as long as I have, they will take the mask off the Bunny, and I mean, you know what? Actually, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't take the mask off the fucking Bunny because they do things and just expect us as a crowd to forget about it. And this whole angle with Adam Rose, I've already forgotten about because I hate it. I think it's dumb. I think his character is dead. I don't think it got over in NXT because it's small crowds. It's not over with the WWE audience. Like it was dead when they came out.
It's not a TV. It's not a TV audience gimmick. I think that's definitely decided by
it's
this
a
point.
high school gym armory type of a gimmick. And
it's a really good one. It's a really good one for that.
On live TV, like when I talked to Chaz Betts, who's down in NXT now, he actually played one of the Rosebuds on one of the first NXT shows that was on the WWE Network. And the crowd at the Full Sail University in Orlando liked it because they were used to it. The WWE crowd that watches on a week-to-week basis and that attends these live events, they don't give a shit about this type of stuff. Maybe the TV audience does, but I'm part of the TV audience and I don't care about it. You're part of the TV audience and you've never been a professional wrestler, you're never going to be a professional wrestler, you don't care about it. I don't understand, and I know that Vince and Triple H probably don't give a shit about it, but it's a time filler. A time filler that can be given to somebody else that deserves it. Will it be revealed who the Bunny is? If I'm put on the spot, guns in my mouth.
The pencil is in your hand.
You have to reveal it, and it has to be somebody that makes sense. I just don't know who the hell even would make sense in this situation because nobody gives a shit about Adam Rose. No one gives a shit about the people that Adam Rose are going against. Heath Slater. Who's it going to be? Somebody from 3MB? They fired them both. So, and it's some short white guy who can jump off the top rope and do a splash. I don't care. I'm not invested in it, emotionally invested in it, that I don't give a shit. When the mask comes off, unless it's Daniel Bryan, which would be completely fucking stupid, it means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing to me.
Hey, that right there, my friends and my listeners, from Japan to the Americas, right there, that's an honest answer from the host of this show. He doesn't fucking care, and he shouldn't fucking care.
And you shouldn't fucking care. As listeners, people watching wrestling, and I know nobody from the WWE listens to it, except for maybe a couple of my friends who are actually there. I know they don't give a shit about it. And I honestly feel like they're trying to fill time, get some comedy in there for the 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds that are watching the show, move on with your day. You have Slam City, maybe you can put the bunny in the fucking Slam City thing, make kids laugh, they can watch that instead of SpongeBob. I don't know. But
put the bunny on main event and have it on from 5 to 6 p.m. and have everything
on Nickelodeon.
And he can get out of our Raw and SmackDown watchings for all I care. If he ever gets on a pay-per-view, which I don't know if he has at this point. Has he been on a pay-per-view?
He was at Night of Champions, wasn't he?
I don't know if he has or not at this point, but if he ever gets on a pay-per-view, I feel like it's our right to know who it is if they're going to waste our time on things that we pay $9.99 a month to watch.
That's a freeplug.com.
Free plug, $9.99. Get it in. Gotta have that. WWE Network. It's legit. Great watch.
It is legit.
It's an unbelievable watch. Gotta have that WWE Network. But
speaking of,
if the bunny matters and he's on a pay-per-view, I need to know who he is at some point.
Who do you want him to be? Who do you want the bunny to be? Who makes the most sense to you, given what you've seen in the last 3 weeks? Who would make the most sense to you?
I think at this point, it makes the most sense for the bunny to be someone that they're going to use as a tag team partner of Adam Rose and push them to some... I was going to say to the top of the tag team division, but let's just be real. That's not going to happen.
What if the bunny's CM Punk?
I mean, I don't think that's... I would hope that's not going to happen. I would say... Let's just say Sami Zayn. I'll say Sami Zayn is the bunny. That's my word. That's what I'm saying if the pencil's in my hand. And I'm saying if the pencil's in my hand and the bunny is Sami Zayn, I should be fired after he is. Agreed. But that's what I think right now.
And if the bunny is Sami Zayn, Triple H should also be relieved of his fucking duties. Because Sami Zayn has been having some of the best shows in NXT.
Sami Zayn's awesome. Sami Zayn is fucking awesome. Keep it clear here. Travis Mester, Dirt, believes Sami Zayn is an absolute star in the making, and by star, I mean who knows where he'll end up, but he's got unbelievable matches on NXT. I love him to death, but that's the only one that I can feasibly imagine that's him. Unless there's somebody in NXT that they know about that we don't know about, that they're saying, hey, we're gonna shock the world by having this guy on the main roster right now, and then throw him into something. Maybe.
It makes no sense to have any of the main event guys from NXT be the bunny. Because they're better than the bunny. Literally at SmackDown, they did an NXT match between Tyler Breeze and Pac.
Before or after?
They did it during. So they had main event, and they had an NXT special match, and then they started taping SmackDown. So they had Adrian Neville, who's the NXT champion, or Pac for you guys across the seas who know him as that, and then Tyler Breeze, who I'm a huge fan of Tyler Breeze. I think he's
a stud. He's a stud.
When you literally have him doing selfies the whole way to the ring, it's a fan. You can't write that shit. That shit's good. That came from him, I'm assuming, too, because it's fantastic. Even my fiance, who went to the match with us, thought it was fantastic. Like, she loved his furry boots and
she's not a wrestling
She hates wrestling.
Fan.
She fucking hates wrestling.
Which right there, that tells us exactly what none of us want to hear, is that they're doing it for other reasons, because people that aren't wrestling fans that want to see impressive stuff and see weird things and see things that'll pull them in. Not that your fiance...
She thought the bunny was fucking stupid. She thought the bunny was stupid. So, I mean, if this is a non-wrestling fan who absolutely hates the product, she's going to think right that way that everything's fucking stupid. She should. But if anything at all was going to get a non-wrestling fan, like, even laughing about something, it would be something as dumb as the fucking bunny. And we've just spent 5 minutes talking about the stupid fucking bunny on this show.
Hey, that was my question.
And and you said it was going to be a short question, and it should have been a short question. Who's the bunny? I don't fucking care. Move on to the next one. Legitimately, it's awful. 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 With that being said, we are getting close to our hour here, and we generally run a little bit over an hour. So what I want to do is we are 2.5 weeks out from the next pay-per-view.
Hell in a Cell, baby. Hell in a Cell.
Question. I will go first. I kind of already asked this. Right now, your life is on the line. You're at the edge of a cliff. I'm holding you, and I'm strong enough to hold you because I'm a fucking man. Lesnar, is he on the card?
No.
Over to you.
What's the main event at Hell in a Cell? And second question, because you're the host, and I believe that I hope...
Two questions.
Two questions because you are the host of the show. Your name is on the goddamn website, and I am going to listen to what you have to say right now, Ryan. Renny D, right now, the pencil is in your hand. Two questions. One, what is the main event of Hell in a Cell? And two, how many matches at that pay-per-view are actually going to be inside a cell?
I'll answer your second question first. 2 matches inside of a cell. I think, call me crazy, I think the main event will be in the Hell in a Cell, and I think the Divas title match will be in the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, you're fucking crazy. I just called you crazy. But go on.
So I got 2 matches in the Hell in a Cell. The main event at Hell in a Cell, to me, is going to be John Cena, Seth Rollins. I feel Dean Ambrose will take on Randy Orton. The payoff match between Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins will take place at Survivor Series. And that's a gut question. That's legit straight from the gut.
That's a shoot. So you're saying right now, you're saying the main event at Hell in a Cell is who versus who inside the cell?
Seth Rollins, John Cena inside of a cell.
You're fucking crazy, but I can't wait for it.
I mean, I also don't think Brock Lesnar is going to be there, so that's why I'm picking that. If Lesnar's going to be there, then obviously Lesnar's going to be in the cell. Lesnar Cena. If
Okay.
Lesnar's there.
Lesnar's not going to be there. So if you're saying it's going to be Rollins versus Cena, then are we looking at an Ambrose Rollins not in a cell earlier in the show?
Actually, you know what? Let me revert that. If Brock Lesnar's not there, it's going to be Cena Ambrose versus Rollins Orton for the main event.
Inside a cell?
Inside the cell.
So a tag team. So as a wrestler, I guess I'm going to need a reminder at this point. Bob Uecker was there? At this point, I'll need a reminder. If the cell is orchestrated as I think it is, how will a tag team match go down inside the cell?
Well, it's not going to be inside the cell. You know it's going to be outside the cell. That happens every year.
Okay.
Somebody's going to get outside. Seth Rollins is going to climb the fucking cage. Ambrose on one side, Cena on the other side. They're going to look across the cell from each other. Who gets to Rollins first? They both climb the cage at the same time. Eventually, Cena and Ambrose might fucking get physical with each other because they both want Rollins. Rollins escapes like he always does. The payoff happens at Survivor Series. That's how I would book it. But I'm not getting paid thousands of dollars to do this.
Hey, but the pencil's in your hand.
But
you told me the
you
answer.
can imagine this. You can sit there and you can see it right now. Tell me you can't see Ambrose on one side, Cena on the other. They both look on top of the cell and they see Rollins.
Last year, Hell in a Cell, how did it end? CM Punk, Ryback on top of the cell. Ryback rules after getting disqualified or whatever
Well,
he was.
He went up and beat the shit out of Heyman with the kendo stick.
Correct. So it pisses me off to say it, but yes, 2.5 weeks out. I hope this changes by Tuesday's episode. I hope it changes by 2 weeks from now's episode. But at this point, I think both of us are on board with saying the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, $9.99 a month, WWE Network.
Boom! That just happened.
Is going to end again with a sloppy finish. And that pisses me off, but I think that's how it's going to happen, and I'm not going to shoot any shit on this show. I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen. And now that my cohort, Ryan Buckeye, Renny D, just told me this.
Don't add me on Facebook, so I'm not going to accept it. So
yeah, definitely do not add him on Facebook. But yes, I agree. I think that's probably going to be a sloppy finish. I feel bad that Randy Orton's going to be involved in it, and at the same time is not going to be involved in it.
Orton's just waiting for his payoff. He's just waiting for his payoff.
Waiting for that payoff. He's just cashing that check every week.
He's the most fluid wrestler on the roster.
He's cashing that check every week, and I know that everyone that I went to school with and had journalism classes is going to appreciate this because he's going to wait for that payoff, and all he's going to wait for that payoff is to make sure that that check clears and that there's no overdraft. And that right there is a segue into the fact that you need to listen on October 14th and make sure that whenever I write that check for Susan G. Komen for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, all of you make sure that I have to write a large check, and I need to make sure that my bank is prepared to write me that overdraft fee that they need to. That right there is a segue, my man. Back to you, Renny D.
Before we wrap it up, I'm going to ask you one more question about Hell in a Cell. And it's a two-part question, but it's a two-part question. Who faces Sheamus for the U.S. title, and who faces Dolph Ziggler for the IC title?
Guns to my head. The pencil's in my hand. Cesaro versus Ziggler. The Miz versus Sheamus.
Bray Wyatt, is he involved in either of these two matches?
Bray Wyatt is not on the pay-per-view. If the pencil's in my hand,
you don't run him in at all. You don't have him make an appearance. You just leave him completely off. Something's gonna happen.
I leave Bray Wyatt completely off. I believe he will probably do some cryptic promo the following Monday. He'll do some weird things. I think he's going to be the guy that will be talking for the next 2.5 to 3 weeks, trying to get over the fact that they are going to singles competition, all three of them. He will be doing Luke Harper, Eric Rowan work for the next 2.5 to 3 weeks. He will not be involved with Hell in a Cell in any way, shape, or form. Monday after the pay-per-view, whatever happens with the winners and losers at Hell in a Cell with those two Intercontinental and U.S. title matches is what is going to lead Bray Wyatt into some sort of feud going forward for one of the titles. I am not prepared to say which one at this point, but that will be what happens come 3 to 4 weeks from now on Monday Night Raw. Whenever somebody's standing in the ring with a title belt in their hand, Bray Wyatt will come out as a singles competitor and make sure that they know that he's who they're going after at the following two pay-per-views, which will be Survivor Series and TLC.
And I think you're onto something. What I think they're going to do, and what they should do, is you did Luke Harper last week, the vignettes. Fantastic, by the way. Absolutely fantastic. We'll see Eric Rowan's this week. I hope they're just as fantastic. What I think, how I would book it, Sheamus goes over The Miz. Like you said, I agree with your U.S. title and your IC title predictions. Sheamus goes over The Miz. Lights go out. Wyatt family's music hits.
At the pay-per-view?
At the pay-per-view.
Okay.
Lights come on. Nobody's there except for the rocking chair on the entryway, rocking back and forth. Completely empty. Completely empty. And then on Monday, Bray Wyatt comes out and says, I'm challenging Sheamus for the U.S. title moving forward.
That's not a spoiler, my friends. That's not a spoiler.
It's old school Undertaker Mankind stuff, and it's creepy. Or the fucking rocking chair is rocking, and there's a doll, like a Chucky doll or some kind of Abigail, right? Abigail is the sister Abigail doll, something on there because that.
Which I think Abigail's still going to be AJ Lee, but that'll be on a different episode.
There's a movie coming out called Annabelle. That's going to gain traction inside movie theaters, and I think the WWE is stupid enough to take advantage of a situation like that to do a doll or something. But that's how I would book it. We'll see, man. We got weeks coming up. We got Raw on Monday. We got another episode on Tuesday with Craven Night. A week from Tuesday, we have our big episode, our October 14th episode, like you mentioned. As we always do, we look forward to Monday. What are you looking forward to the most before we wrap this one up?
The thing I'm looking forward to the most as of today is the reaction that Dean Ambrose continues to get from the WWE Universe. I think whatever he gets reaction-wise when his music hits, whenever he does what he does, I think is going to lead itself to a lot over the next 4 to 5 months, which we all know in the wrestling business is going to be an important 4 to 5 months leading up to February, March, April, which obviously is the main event for wrestling. If he continues to get the reaction that he's getting, and he is somebody that we know can deliver in the ring, and if he continues to be a guy that we're going to keep pushing him as somebody that we're gonna put in the main events of SmackDown, we're going to put in the main events of Raw. He's going to be on screen with John Cena. He's going to be there with the guys that we know are going to be top echelon players in this company. I'm excited to see if they continue to push him in that direction. How about you?
I think that's going to be a good thing coming up. I'm looking forward to seeing if there's a Paul Heyman segment on Raw or SmackDown next week to confirm or deny Brock Lesnar at Hell in a Cell. Because both of us are on the same page that he's not going to be there. And again, I feel like if he's not going to be there, then he shouldn't be on anyone. Okay, have him at Survivor Series, but then nothing again until the Rumble. Because there's no reason to skip one pay-per-view and then be back on the rest of them the rest of the way. We'll see. And we got Raw on Monday, SmackDown on Tuesday. We're going to come back at you guys on Tuesday. iTunes, PodBean, Stitcher, YouTube, all that good stuff. Make sure you check out the new website. It is pencilpodcast.com. So easy to get to.
Thank you, Brian Niebler.
Thank you, Brian Niebler, you ginger motherfucker. It looks good, guys. It looked good. Again, if you're interested in writing for us, let us know, because any content we can put on the site, as long as it's got some sort of merit to it, totally okay with it. Yeah, man. So this is our first live episode at the Lakeside Condominium Studio. Although we can't see the lake right now because it's 11:30 at night. Dirt and I are going to wrap this one up, finish our drinks, and head out downtown Milwaukee. We'll be in Chicago tomorrow. We're going to stop at the Squared Circle and see if we can see some cool ass people eat some shitty food, drink a lot of beer, and yes, I am buying a T-shirt. Until Tuesday, brother. This has been fun. We got to do this more often.
I got to fly back into town for more episodes. I mean, these live episodes, I think they do it for me. They do it for me, and I hope they do it for our listeners. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you Tuesday. You've been listening to The Pencil, the professional wrestling podcast online. Follow us on Twitter at Pencil Podcast or check us out online at pencilpodcast.com. You can listen to our show every Tuesday on iTunes, PodBean, Stitcher, and YouTube. Our show features guests from the WWE, TNA, the independent wrestling scene, and legends of wrestling past. Check it out today.